What's going on, guys? Coach Myles here for My Performance, and we're back with the Performance Matters podcast. This time we're very lucky to have a special guest. Some guys know him as Rushon, other guys might know him as Cookie. These days, people call him Coach. Welcome, Rushon, to the podcast. Okay, so we're going to get right into it.
Appreciate you for having me.
So let's kind of go through your origin story. Like, what got you into football in the first place as a player, and then we'll obviously get to the coaching stuff after.
Yeah, for sure. Honestly, it was a little weird. So I was at a track meet, and I raced these two guys that some people might know, and I beat them a little nicely, and they came up to me after and were like, "Bro, you should play football." And they
This would be like high school age?
we were like 12.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, 11, 12. I think it was grade 6. They were like, "You should play football," and my mom at the time thought I was pretty small, and like my grandma didn't really want me playing.
Right.
And they're like, my mom was like, no. So, our one friend Denver, his dad was like a car salesman, so he spent probably like 7-8 hours that whole day at track on my mom,
Right.
trying to get her to let me play, and she finally was like, if you leave me alone, I'll let you play. So
I don't even care at this point. I'm just getting annoyed.
Yeah, he was persistent, and then I got into football. So shout out Denver, Trey, and Tyrell. They were kind of ones that started that, and I didn't play on Trey and Tyrell's team at the time, but I played on Denver's team, and I was playing running back, wearing number 66, and I was a lot bigger and faster than guys, so kind of threw me on some jet sweeps. If it wasn't a sweep, if it was like a 31 dive or something, turned into a 38 sweep, because I wasn't trying to get hit.
Let me get the edge. Yeah, sure.
I had to get the edge and just make my way to the end zone. So that's kind of how football started. It was a track guy and turned into a football player. So, yeah.
And then when did you kind of know? It goes from, okay, I'm having fun playing this, to like, okay, this needs to be a part of my life. Like, probably sometime in high school, you're like, I can't live without this. When did you kind of know either I want to pursue next level, or like I know I can?
I say like grade 10. Yeah, grade 10 definitely. So I switched from A.M. Meyer and went to DM.
Right.
Just kind of a long story with the high schools, but I switched from A.M. Meyer, went to DM. I wasn't able to play, and like that whole season, I just had the itch, and that's kind of when I knew I was like, yeah, no, this is something I definitely want to do.
Once it's taken away from you, then you kind of realize how much.
Yeah, once it's taken away, you're like, oh no, I need this, and
yeah, I don't want it. I can't live without it.
Yeah, you can't live without it. Just from like standing on the sidelines is never fun. Like obviously everybody goes through it at some point in their career whether they're injured or they're just not able to play, and like, or they're just not ready yet. Speaking at the U Sports level, some guys just aren't ready yet. But you definitely get like it kind of builds that love for the game almost,
right?
Because you can't do it. You're just sitting there watching it. And it's like, I don't know. I'm a pretty competitive individual, so right. I'm like, I need to be on the field. Oh, I could have made that play.
Yeah,
just that type of thing. So yeah, I'll say grade 10. First time it got like taken away from me.
Right. You feel that hole, right? That hole, that missing. You're like, it's part of my identity. Something's missing.
Sitting there, like I was a water boy for the DM team, just because I was like, I wanted to be around the team so much. So I was like bringing out water. I'm like, man, like this guy's not that good. You can run him over. You should be catching that type thing. So
right.
Yeah, it's just kind of, once you lose it, it's always, I need it back.
Yeah. So then, what did the actual recruiting process look like for you? And I'm kind of curious, because I feel like even though we're not that old, it's starting to look a little different.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to see after kind of if it.
Honestly, it like I wasn't the most like sought after recruit. Like I said, I missed grade 10. I was living in Alberta in grade 11, and then I wasn't able to play grade 12, so I was really only getting recruited based off of like Team Ontario and 12B, where like at Meyer we played all public schools, and I think the closest score was like 46-0.
Yeah, I was gonna say 60-piece everybody.
Outside of DM in the championship game.
Right, and 12-minute quarters too, right?
12-minute quarters, yeah. So we had a pretty good football team. So honestly, the fact that our football team was so good, and like the players that we had on it, they brought coaches, and then I was just kind of like, I was able to, okay, I got something a little bit. So, but honestly, grades were a big thing for me. I think Cannon, A.M. Myers head coach, called me a sometimes type of student. I was at school sometimes.
Yeah.
You wouldn't see me on Monday or Fridays, but 12B, like he sat me down, we had a conversation. It's like, if you don't kind of lock in, with school and making sure that you're showing up, it's not going to be good for you. And like, you can't, as a coach, I can't vouch for you because that's my name, right? If you're not going to school, so
because the schools are going to stop asking him for his opinion, right?
Exactly.
You can't just put everyone forth there. That's what's going to happen.
And like, if you look at Meyer now, like I couldn't, looking back, like a shout out to him, but like you can't, like all the reputation he's built for that school and like the players that he sent away, like I couldn't be one of those that kind of tarnished that.
Of course.
Locked in,
elite class of athletes,
You know what I'm saying? So I locked in, got in the books, and I kind of translated into university as well, but stopped missing school, started lifting a little bit more and focusing on that aspect of it. And then, Bert, I want to say October, my 12B year, that's when I got the offer from Waterloo, and it was either go play receiver at Waterloo or try defense somewhere else, and it was just like I told him to rock, so I chose the receiver role.
And that's a good testament, though, too. Like we were saying a couple weeks back, me and Federico were on the podcast.
Yeah.
And we were talking about, I said, you got to use the game because the game's going to use you in multiple different ways. And talking about yourself, and like I've heard it 100 times, guys are like, I never really was a school guy. And I'm like, okay, so now you can use your sport, football, hockey, soccer, whatever you play, to get a degree that you probably never got otherwise. I think that's like an often it's like an overlooked aspect or benefit of sports that people don't realize. It's way more than just what happens in between the white lines or on the ice or on the court or whatever. It's now you look and say you have a career, you have a degree, you have a job that you probably 100% you wouldn't have got otherwise, right?
If I didn't go to Waterloo, everything that I currently, like from the degree to the job that I have to the position I am in football, like wouldn't have that. I went to Waterloo, got this job working facilities and events in like 2018, so my second year. Carried that through my whole university time. I wasn't able to do football games, obviously, which is a big part of events, but I was able to like kind of build up on the events team through basketball, all that like indoor sports, and then the last game that I worked, I randomly said to my boss, because he was in the phase of like building a family and everything, and I was just like, if your wife's looking to have another baby, you guys are looking to have another baby, I'll cover for you, just as a joke. Maybe 3-4 months later,
so word?
He's like, hey, were you serious about that? And I was working a job that wasn't the best fit for me, and I was like, you know what, I kind of go with the devil, I was like, yeah, man, for sure, I would love to do that. And then I got the opportunity to do that, which led to me being around to coach, and then a position opened up where I was able to like take on that full time, and now where I'm at now. Building coordinator at Columbia Icefields at University of Waterloo. So
none of which ever would happen without football, or for a lot of people, whatever sport you play. But
exactly,
people are so short sighted in here the sets and reps, or like how many catches I'm gonna get, or touchdowns or whatever, goals I'm gonna score. Like it all feeds a greater purpose, but like it's just so much more than that, right? So it's always cool to see how many examples of it there are, like people using sport as like a kind of a springboard into your career or into like a better life.
Yeah.
And B, I just I always want to highlight, like with all the guests we have on this podcast that are so successful, like there's not one easy path. Like no one ever had an easy path. So sometimes with the young athletes, you might hear, different complaints. And I said, do you think the people that are better than you or that are winning are not having these problems, or do you think they're just persevering like in spite of them?
Yeah.
Right? Exactly. Teams want to come in for a 6 a.m. lift and go, shit, it's so cold out, it's early. I'm like, yeah, but the team that's in Alberta that's going to kick our ass at Nationals is training right now too. And I guarantee you it's probably colder.
100% cold.
They're just doing it anyway,
exactly.
Right? So, like, there's got to be a realization. I think sometimes people think all these people that are so successful, they just maybe had a silver spoon in their mouth or had an easy path. And, like, 99% of the time, it's just not the case.
No, not at all. I think the big thing with that is, like, they showed up no matter what.
Right?
Like, you wake up in the morning, you're not feeling it. You don't want to go train, but if you look at it, you got – maybe if you're looking at it offensively, you got 11 other guys expecting you to be ready and show up at training camp.
Yeah.
Ready to be to play football, to be at that weight that your coaches wanted you to be at, and to do that, you just got to show up. Whether it's showing up in the kitchen, cooking the food, making sure that you're eating healthy, or showing up in the weight room and showing up to practice and getting your reps in and making sure that you're practicing in like with intent as opposed to like I said, just showing up. You're not just showing up going through the motions, but when you show up, you're there with intent and making sure that you're doing everything properly. So I think that's the big thing, right?
Yeah.
If you're thinking that it's just gonna be handed to you, that's definitely not the case. You got to work for that. You got to work for it every day.
And I think when you get to university sports too, you realize like it's as much about making the right decisions as it is about like consciously avoiding the wrong ones.
Exactly.
Because there's so much temptation, there's so much stupid stuff you could get into if you want. It's so readily available. It's so easy to do certain lifestyles you could live that are easy. That are a lot of people are doing it. Oh, I'd be okay. You have to be able to decide not to live that kind of lifestyle as well, and say no to certain things that in the moment people might think are fun. Right, going out turning up every weekend, like guys think it's fun. How many guys have you seen that shoulda, woulda, coulda, and didn't because they kind of fell into that lifestyle, right?
Exactly. I think that's a big thing. Like Waterloo and Laurier being so close together, it's definitely like a party city, and like you said, there's a lot of temptation there. You went there.
There's no lack of opportunity.
No lack of opportunity. So you just gotta mind your P's and Q's and just make sure you're focused, not tunnel vision, because obviously you want to enjoy the process, and like after wins, go hang out with the guys, and like that's a good thing to build like team camaraderie and everything.
Totally.
But like you go out that Saturday, you don't go too crazy, whatever. You're ready for team rundown the next day, and then you start the weekend on Monday and get back to it.
And that's the one day you get all week. This is not turning into like a 3-day event.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
You get one day. If it's a loss and you're at the club, I don't know. You gotta talk to your team about that one.
Yeah.
But if we lost, you wouldn't see me anywhere but in my bedroom, maybe on 2K or something like that.
What am I celebrating?
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
To celebrate.
Exactly. So, but you've always had a good approach to training and everything. I think it kind of stems from a bit of a funny story, like nobody would know, is like the first time we met.
Yeah.
So I kind of would like, whether you want to tell it or I could tell it, but I kind of want to go over that first time we met.
Let me hear your perspective on that, because like
it's gotta be similar.
I know. I thought I was doing like I was like, let me get some runs in and call it a day, and then like, yo, you want me to turn the lights on for you? Honestly, I thought you were coming to kick me off the field. So
so long story short, so I was working at like a summer student in the city of Niagara Falls, and I was working at Mitchelson, like at St. Paul High School, and we were open. Even if it was kind of weird. Even if there was like no games booked, I'd still be there till like 11.
Yeah.
Just kind of patrolling, I guess, make sure no one's causing any mischief. Sure enough, so I never really knew you until then, but like you just kind of know of guys, like there's guys around who are playing university football or whatever. Yeah. So all of a sudden I hear like this big like rattling on the chain link fence, right? And I look over and I'm like, what the hell is going on? So I come walking over, and like you saw me like during the headlights, and I get it, because like how many times have I been kicked off field too trying to train?
Exactly.
And there's a gate and a fence for a reason, right?
I do it all the time now.
So I come walking over, and I remember like the look of, again, this is like 10 p.m. probably, pitch black outside. It's like the look of like defeat on your face, and then you're like, "You're gonna kick me off?" And I said, "No." I said, "But I'd rather not see you like sprain your ankle or something. So next time, here's my number, I think, or just come find me in the clubhouse, and I'll like unlock the thing for you. You can just walk in." And like I remember seeing the relief, and I was like, "I get it."
Yeah.
I was like, because it's so hard to train. There's not that many places locally where we can get out on some turf and train, and
especially at that time.
Exactly. Like there was like 2 turf fields are so protected. Like I don't even think Meyer even had a field at that point. Maybe they did either way.
I think St. Paul just got their turf.
St. Paul just had it.
Summer, I think.
So I just kind of remember that moment of like from like defeat to like relief. But I think the reason why I'm telling it just highlights the fact that like you always were trying to find a way to train and find a way to get rid of barriers when other guys might be like, well, there's nowhere to train. Well, this guy's coming out at 11 p.m. or whatever time it was, jumping fences just to try to get a couple sprints in or something.
Yeah, because my big thing was I was never really a morning person going into like first and second year. Kind of training here actually changed that, turned me into a morning person a little bit, because it was really the only time I could get the work in. But I think I had just finished like a shift at like Rainforest Cafe or somewhere. I was working as a host, and I was I haven't gotten any work in today, like where it's probably not the best. So I was like, let me go try and get, because I would go. There was a gym in Niagara Falls. I don't remember what the name was, but I would go there right after work, and then I would try and get into St. Paul right after, just to make sure that I was getting in work. It didn't always go that way. Sometimes, like I said, showing up, sometimes you gotta get some extra sleep in because you got a long day the next day. That's an excuse, by the way, so don't do that. But
Or sometimes you show up ready to train, and there's like a soccer game going on or something.
Exactly.
It's not even always in your control, right? You and Dan would show up, or whoever, or you by yourself, or him by himself, or
exactly. So it would just be, just try and get in the work where you can, and that's like the most important part. But that's how I met Myles, and then I was
because at that point I still had a year to go back and play one more year. Yeah.
So we played you guys. That was 2018, I think, that we played you.
Yeah, don't remind me.
We got the dub, so as a
one in every 20 years.
As a Waterloo guy, I love to say that I'm 3-2 against y'all. So and I got Myles twice. So.
What can I say?
Yeah.
What can I say?
Got Myles twice. But yeah, no, it kind of springboarded that relationship because I think after you were done playing, you hit me up and was like in the summertime around the same time, like a year later that I met you, we're like, yo, I'm doing this little training thing. Do you want to get like it was me, Eli, Fed, Dan, Mikey.
Yeah.
So that was like the original 5 of us, and I was like, yeah, shit, why not? And then it just kind of like I was like, okay, now this is good. I think I lost just coming here like 2-3 times a week. I was a little heavy, so I lost like maybe 10-15 pounds, put on some muscle as well.
Some of the old pictures are hilarious.
It's crazy. I had no chest. It was wild. And then like I got to my playing weight right before camp, came in healthy, feeling really good. So had an all right season that year. So yeah, man, it was good. It's weird how just commonplace and like time and place
right
kind of lines up.
Well, because I always said like on the podcast, I think it was last week or the week before, we were talking about like how did I get into this? Yeah. It was like the origin story podcast. I said like I just generally always want to help people or see people train, or like I could never want to see somebody that wants to train and be like no, like I'm not there to help out. Yeah. Like just like even when I didn't do this as a career yet, like I'm just like I love training. Someone else loves training. Like let's make it happen. Yeah. So yeah, ever since that first day, and then I know you and Dan would even come some days like, hey, can we get on? Like, yeah, you guys probably praying I was the one working because I know some other guys maybe be like a little bit of a stickler for really no reason, but that's kind of where it always stemmed from too. Like me just, if I see the passion in you that I feel like I have in me, I'm like, how can I not support it, right? Exactly. So then that's why the year after I'm like, okay, now I'm actually doing it for real. Like, you want to come join? And thankfully, you guys really set it off. Like that was the first. That was a crazy group we had, and then of course COVID came the next year, and we had to navigate all that crazy stuff. Yeah. But pretty cool origin story. And like I said, the only reason I bring it up is because it just highlights. Like you always were like a find a way kind of guy, right? We talk about it on the podcast probably every week. Like it's so easy to find excuses. Like if you look for an excuse, you will always find one. Yeah. Right. But if you look hard enough for a reason to do something, you can always find it too. You might have to dig a little further, but it will be there. Yeah. Right. So. What do you think, kind of transitioning now, like, so when you first got to Waterloo as a player, like, what do you think was the biggest jump from high school to university? Because I find now I have a hard time, like, I'll tell the guys, like, it's going to be a lot different. It's going to be a lot faster. It's going to be a lot more sophisticated. And they're like, yeah. And then maybe they come back for Christmas break, and I'm like, what's it like? And they're like, man, you told me, but, like, I couldn't really, until I, I'm like, did I prepare you? They're like, yes, but until I experienced it, I couldn't really appreciate it. So, like, did you have that same experience?
That's facts, yeah. So 2017 was my first season, and we had I think it was 2 weeks of training camp, 5 two-a-days. I felt like I was there for 2 months. It was crazy. So I'm like I had never learned so much and forgotten so much at the same time.
You guys still do two-a-days?
No.
Nobody does, eh?
So. We did it at East West. And
yeah.
Some of the guys.
Exactly. Jared's like, I never did this before. I'm like, come on, man.
We asked the guys, we huddled up at the end of practice, and we asked the guys, and I think it was St. FX was the only school that
still does them. Yeah,
man.
Hard nose out there.
Yeah, man.
East Coast lifestyle.
They were winning out there.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Anyway, so okay, so back to your own experience. Yeah, so 2 days. Yeah, like you said, you forgot and learned more.
Yeah, learned more in that 2 weeks than. It obviously gets easier. Maybe just because we got rid of the 2 days, but you know more. You're understanding, and the game slows down. But so the guy that kind of gave me my welcome to the OUA moment.
Everybody has one.
Everybody has one. So Jean Gabriel Poulin.
Yeah, he gave me one too, actually.
So he was at East West, and I was like, man, this is the situation that happened, right? So. That kind of made me realize, man, I'm really, really skinny right now, and I need to put on some weight. So I think that was the biggest thing, just the size of the guys. They're a lot, obviously they're a lot. You're coming in at, if you're going into the OUA and you're from Ontario, you're going in at 17, 18.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure he's a CJEP guy.
Yeah, he's a CJEP guy, so he's
and a beast in his own right.
He's 21, 22. he's matured as a person and an
Yeah.
adult, and I'm still a young boy, and I go to block him, and he like.
It's in a real game or like a
It's in
scrimmage?
scrimmage. So we
Okay,
scrimmage
yeah,
Western.
yeah.
We scrimmage Western.
Whose idea was
training
that?
camp.
That's a hell of an idea, Bert.
Yeah. It made us better. It made
Yeah,
us
yeah,
better,
yeah,
100%.
no doubt, no
And it
doubt.
made me realize that, I gotta put some weight on. I think every kid goes in like, oh, I'm ready to play now,
Yeah.
and like I think it takes something like that happening and taking a step back to be like, okay, I need to really lock in the weight room,
Yeah.
in the playbook. So I went to go block him, and this guy shouldered, like he just hit me with his shoulder, and I went like 5-10 yards flying the other way. He made the tackle. I was like, this is some nonsense. I gotta get right. But yeah, no, definitely. I think the transition from high school to university is one, the size and the speed. Just dudes are a lot faster at that age. You're like I said, you're going in at 17. You're playing some grown men. Some guys are in there till they're like 25, right?
Yeah.
So I would say that's the big thing. And then just like the understanding of the game, like understanding coverage, is like what you're seeing, it has to be like a lot faster.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
So much more sophisticated.
You pretty much have the waggle. Like obviously you're going through film and like you prep for what the team is going to show you, but when it comes down to it, you got to play football. So you have that waggle as a receiver. You have that waggle to like determine pre-snap what's going on, and then obviously there's post-snap, and that's a whole different beast.
So the balls are flying.
Yeah, that's a whole different beast for young guys, and I think like if you want to be successful, like if you're a young guy, you want to be successful going into OUA, go on YouTube and look at some of the coaching clinics that they have and like explaining defenses and stuff, just so you get a head start. Or like once you commit to a school, sending those questions to the coaches, like, hey, cover 2, what should I be expecting? Like, what am I seeing, right? So just kind of getting a head start before you go into camp, and then you get put in a match coverage situation, and who's running match in high school. Like I don't really think anybody is. You usually see man, because people are just trying to like out athlete you.
Right.
I know that's what we did at Meyer. We got some studs there, but I think like that's the biggest thing is like just understanding coverages, and then this is a big one, learning the concept as opposed to the route.
Yeah.
As an O-lineman, you might not know what I'm talking about, but receivers out there.
But I do though.
Yeah, you do. Okay,
yeah,
perfect.
and even now trying to coach with I'll come back to it, but yeah, you get me fired up.
Learning the concept as opposed to just the route, because like Waterloo specifically, we moved around a lot. Like I'm playing X, I'm playing W, Y, and Z, just in different formations to matchups, right? So you got to know everything, and like that was the biggest kind of like head explosion. Like I'm motioning over the trips, and then I'm like, okay, what route do I have? I know I had a corner over there. What do I got now? So like that's the biggest thing. Learn it and as a concept as opposed to what the position has on that specific play.
100%.
I think that'll help you, and then it'll just help you be like a multi-tool guy. You can play anywhere because you know the playbook, right?
You can play anywhere, and then to be honest, like when you know what the guy beside you is doing, your life actually gets a lot easier. Yeah. So, I mean, for me playing center, like I got to make all the points, and I really got to know what everyone's doing. Yeah. But some guys that would maybe overwhelm them. For me, I kind of found peace in it. Yeah. Actually made it kind of easier because I'm like, if you forget what you're doing, but you know what everyone else is doing, there's really only a couple logical answers what really you can do, right? And again, so not only for the guy beside me to say, what do I have again, and I can answer him, that's great. Yeah. But just understanding the whole play, especially like you said with the coverages, the same thing with like the front seven. Like when I got to the OUA, like I seen fronts I never seen before in my life. Yeah. Like high school, you see a lot of base 40, maybe a little bit of 50 fronts if you're really good at running the ball, a couple 30s, but like not really. And now you get to the OUA and you see all these crazy fronts. I used to joke, I'm like, if I went back and coach high school now, I don't know anything outside the box. I don't even really know D-line. Yeah. But I'm like, I could probably do okay as like a DC just because I could call crazy formations and nobody would know who the hell to block. Yeah. But trying to understand like the concept of the play helps at that level, especially because you play a team like Waterloo or like Queens back then. A lot of that 3-4 defense with like crazy stunts, blitzes, like 3-man games, like. So if you're trying to sit there and memorize, like, I'm the left guard, I block the 3-tech, all of a sudden it's a 30 front, there's no 3-tech, oh my God, like, you just melt down. So understanding, like, actually the concept of the play in the same way you're saying would help a lot. And now with coaching a little bit, coaching like the Spears guys a little bit, I'm doing a little bit of the JV team, and these kids are awesome. They're, like, super receptive and super, like, they want to learn. Yeah. I find at that age, that's kind of what they're used to, like, coach gave me a playbook. I need to memorize like the actual X's and O's on the sheet, which is a great start.
Yeah.
But like then us as coaching staff are like, hey guys, like you need to understand the concept, right? Like inside zone is a downhill play. We need to smash him in the face and get some vertical displacement. But all of a sudden, again, you have like a different front. You need to understand and be able to communicate. Exactly. That's why I keep trying to tell these guys too. I'm like, there's actually multiple ways we can block each one of these plays, whether it's inside zone, stretch, counter, whatever. I'm like, we all just got to be on the same page, right? I'm like, this way will work. This way will also work. I'm like, I want to teach you guys how to be thinkers, right? In our whole coaching staff there with the Spears, we're all on the same page with trying to teach the kids and empower them. Like, get out on the field and make decisions, right? Because these are a couple different good ways we can do this. Go ahead and do it as you see fit. Maybe depending on who we're playing, the nose tackle is really good. And this week the three tech's really good. Like maybe we're gonna play it differently, right? So trying to empower them to be able to be thinkers and not just robots. And I'm sure that applies to every sport, right? The best hockey players, probably the best basketball players, are crafty. They have a high basketball, hockey, whatever IQ. Same thing we say football IQ. Like I think that's the biggest thing that helped me too when I was going to Laurier was 12B. I only did first semester. Yeah. So second semester I was working.
You went back to school to play football. You went back
100%. And when I went in, I was already committed. In grade 12, and I just said I just really think I want another year. Coach Cameron said, yeah, no worries. Yeah. And I ended up going back for that, I guess, ninth semester. Like you said, just to play football. Then the second semester I was just working. Yeah. But every Wednesday I would drive up to Laurier. Me and my online coach, Coach Irv, would sit for like 2 hours. Yeah. And we would just watch film. And we would just draw stuff up on the whiteboard. So I was fortunate to be able to be only like 90 minutes away and be able to drive up there every week. But then like they have the team runs in the summer, so I'd be doing the team run, doing all that. And that's what really helped me when I got there in first year. Like physically, I got my ass handed to me. I'm not going to sugarcoat it.
Mentally, you were.
But at least I was able to get in and get some reps because they're like, okay, this guy's at least not going to step the wrong way and get somebody killed or not pull when he's supposed to pull, and then we have a free hitter. Like, so taking care of that mental aspect is huge. And my thing is like it's just effort. Right? Like you said, when you go play against that 25-year-old guy, no matter how hard you've been training in here or wherever, you might just be physically outmatched that first year. But like mentally, if you don't know where you're supposed to be and when, that's your fault. And that's controllable.
Exactly. Yeah, no, 100%. Like mentally, like I'm not gonna lie, I'm not scared. I'm gonna go. Like I know I said at the beginning, but that got worked out of me. I didn't like getting hit when I was younger, but it got worked out of me. But mentally, like if you're scared to go hit somebody, like you're not gonna last very long.
You're playing the wrong game. That's okay, honestly.
We got touch football now. They're pretty big. Not saying that if you're scared, go play. I mean, if only scared people go play touch football.
Right. I know what you mean, though.
You know what I'm saying? Like if you're not trying to get hit, touch football is great. But mentally, you gotta kind of have that dog in you a little bit and ready to go. You gotta go hit linebackers, hit DNs. Sometimes at one point it gets kind of fun, to be honest. Like that's.
You saw Coach Fowles' pregame speech last week. I know you're on the East team, but did you see that? You saw the video of that? Okay,
I didn't. What did he say?
I'll show you after.
Okay.
But essentially, this is along the lines. He's like, "This is why you guys play. Yeah. This is why I play. This is why I coach. Because for 3 hours you get to be a fucking psycho. You get to put your face through somebody. You get to go crazy. Like this is why we play this game, right? Yeah. It's so unique compared to most things you can do on this earth.
Like I wasn't big in the smashing heads. Like if sometimes you just gotta thug it out, and like you'll have those games where it's raining. You're running the rock. That first play with the DB and one of those, and it's like, this is what we're gonna do today. And then at that point,
here we go. Next 3 hours.
It's like who's gonna quit first? Because it's not gonna be me. So you gotta be like mentally prepared for that. And then at some point, either you're running up the score or they're running up the score, and kind of slows down a little bit. Yeah. Not going as hard. Like, they're not going as hard maybe, but if you're down, you gotta play till the last whistle. If you're up, you gotta play till the last whistle too. But
it's a good point though, because even if you're not that like I want to kill someone, it's still that at least it's that competitiveness. But I don't want to lose though. Yeah. I'm proud enough that I don't want to lose, and I'm gonna compete. No chance. Right in that physical aspect.
I think it was 21 maybe. Yeah, 21. It was we were playing Laurier, and we were running the ball.
Was this like the double OT?
No, that was 2019.
Okay.
I don't want to get into that one.
I'm not even trying to bust you. That was a crazy game, no matter who you cheer for.
Yeah,
Carosello
exactly.
and I think Brenton Hall maybe on the.
Yeah. But it was 21. It was like post-COVID year, so we played them twice. This was the first game.
But that's awful. How did you guys play them twice?
Because of COVID. So that was when they did the like.
Was it like a regional thing?
They split two divisions, one East and West, because we didn't get like Queens and all them. Okay. Like Ottawa, we kept it close because I think they did, because we got Laurier twice. I think we did Mac, Guelph, Toronto.
I didn't even remember that. Wow.
It was only 6-game season.
Yeah.
And 2 of them were versus Laurier. So the first game, raining, muggy, we're running the ball. I think it might have been Beltry was their boundary half.
Yeah.
That's that cycle that you were talking about.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, it's crazy.
And we're just freaking going, just headbutting each other
he's
the whole
nuts,
game
yeah.
because we're just running the ball. And I'm like, damn, it doesn't want to quit. I'm not gonna quit, but I'm gonna need a cold shower after this.
No doubt.
Just sit in the cold water. So yeah, it was just it was one of those where like you can't have the quit in you. You just gotta make sure that like, you know, they feel it. Regardless you win or lose.
100%. So, as a player, we'll say this at Waterloo, keep it simple. Like, who do you think coaches and or vets on a team, like, who had the biggest influence on you? Like, who was like the best mentors, whether it was on the field, off the field, like combination, both, whatever. You probably could name 10 guys, but
yeah, I 100%. But if Coach Mack and Andrew McGregor, even to this day, like he'll still call me from time to time, ask me how like receiver drills are going and indies and those type of things. He was
the receiver coach.
He was the receiver coach. So he was my receiver coach from 17 to 21. But like he put like all my development as a player was very big on like from his standpoint. I remember I think it was like maybe day 2 or 3 we were talking and. So maybe somebody had like pulled a hamstring or something, and you know, coaches they're like, man, I was doing this with a torn ACL, and like he really played in like I think 3 games off a torn ACL, and I'm just like, man, that's kind of crazy, and I'm like, man, my hamstring hurts a little bit. He played on a torn ACL.
Yeah, that's impressive.
Right. You know what I'm saying? But no, he was really big just in terms of like developing me as a player. I would say I came in like decently raw. I was good at running routes. I didn't really understand like defenses as much. But obviously, you know, you're not perfect when you come in first year. Your arms are flailing everywhere. You're doing too much with your head, and like he kind of took the time to like after Indy we would go like an hour doing injury drills, whatever, just as a team. And like after that, he's like would stay and work on some stuff that had been like stressing me the whole week, like. If a ball was thrown short, how am I going to get to that? So we'd work that type of stuff. And then just like indicators. Receivers have a lot of indicators. So he would be like, listen, I know you're running this route when you do this.
Like
right?
tells. Like tells, the way you're,
exactly.
Yeah.
So
that's like O-line, D-line, yeah.
Yeah, he would harp on that. And then like when I was having like a bad practice, like he would just, you know, he comes up to you. He's just like, he's a funny dude. Like he's really cool. And it was just like kind of switched like that after a conversation with him. From my perspective anyway, so like I could really like shout out to Mac. He even to this day, you know, he's great in terms of just football and life as well. And then as a player,
yeah, let's go one each.
You know,
like that.
We'll go as a player. I would say Rich, the OG number 3, Rich.
Yeah.
He was. I think he was in his 3rd year. He just finished East West when I came in, and I would say he kind of took. I was his backup, so he kind of took me under his wing and kind of showed me the way, just like from a football perspective as well as life. You know, you're a young kid going in there. You don't have much. You don't have as much life experience as you think you do.
And like I said, it's very easy to go the right path, and it's very easy to go the wrong path.
Exactly.
Right?
So he was kind of the one that kind of helped me kind of navigate those things, like from school to life and just life in university, and I had some really good conversations with him, just in terms like just in the locker room, you know, like his perspective on things, you know, because he grew up a little differently than I did, and like just hearing like other guys' perspective on just life and football in general, it was good. Like he like I said, he took me under his wing. You know, sometimes there was that vet presence that you need, where like you're in the lunchroom, you know, that tray ends up next to you, cook, you got me, you know, type thing. So, but no, Rich was definitely a guy that, you know, I looked up to, as well as just like wanted to, like as a young guy, you're like, okay, I want to get like him, right? And then, you know, you're trying to get like him, and then once you're in his position that he was, you kind of want to give back to the young guys, and like try and make sure that they're good, and and make sure that they're minding their P's and Q's and things like that. So I'll say Coach Mack and Rich definitely the two. One outlier though, same age as me, but like taught me a bunch just from like his story alone was like Gordon Lamb. So like
Right.
a lot of people may not know this, but first and second year we didn't get along all that much. I was a quiet, reserved guy. I didn't really talk in the locker room and just kind of I was chilling most of the time, just kind of on my vibe. Looking back, it was like it didn't look like I cared to be there.
Right.
Meant just like I'm just.
Which is so naive, but I know what you mean.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I'm really just like I'm chilling and like we had our politicking, but now like friggin' you just the teammate that he pushed you to be like so much better.
Right.
Like even if it was just like a look, like I remember we're playing Western. I think I had a drop or something on a kick return, and like he came in the huddle and he's just staring at me, and I'm like, yeah, I know nothing needs to be said. It's one of those like it's like he came off a all Canadian season, right? So second team all Canadian or first team all Canadian, I don't remember, but like he didn't like. For me, anyway, he didn't really throw that in like his teammates' face. He was more like, "Listen, this is what we need to do to be better, and like let's make sure we're doing that, and like hold each other accountable. Like you drop a pass, I'm gonna be on your ass. I drop a pass, like same thing,
Yeah.
right? And like
And some guys take that kind of accountability as like it's offensive, but it's really not.
No,
it's just because we're on the same mission and we all got the same goal, right?
Once you understand him as a person and like sit down, have some conversation with him, and you look back at like the way he was as a player, you understand it so much more.
Yeah.
Right. Like some people would be like, oh, he's mean, he's this, that. Not at all. He's just really passionate about the game of football, and like
Right.
he wants you. Like I don't think there's anything worse than you wanting something and like not having everybody like pulling the rope. Everybody wants to
Right.
pull the rope in the
Right.
same direction, but then you got a guy over there that's not doing the same thing.
Are you pulling on it, or you just kind of holding on to it, making it
just chilling.
making it look good?
You look like you're chilling over there.
Yeah.
Why are you even here? So, like we beefed a lot, but then I understood him as a person, and I was just like, okay, nah, he wants what's best for the team as well as me, which I learned after. Like even going back, like watching some film from those days, like I get tackled and somebody's standing over me. I see Gordon's first one in, pushing him out of the way. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like you're not gonna do that to my teammates. So I think those three, definitely those three.
That's awesome, and I think it's a good message too, because a lot of time you can also be in those rooms where there's a vet who, say you're playing the same position, and they're kind of standoffish, and it's almost like they're trying to hold back information because I think they're intimidated, because you're not gonna come take my spot.
Absolutely not. Like
So it's always refreshing to hear that there's those
Yeah.
guys that are willing to say like,
there's definitely those guys. I think like every team may have them.
Right.
Like you're a young guy, and like we're bringing in like 2017, 2018 recruiting class, or 2016, 2017 recruiting class for Waterloo. It's crazy. We got Curtis Gray, Mike Reed, Tyler Tunowski, to name a few. Like
Tunowski's still playing.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, you
They're
got
playing
all
well,
those
obviously.
guys as a vet, like who's been there for like 5-6 years. You don't really want to you don't want to lose your spot.
Totally.
But you got to kind of understand that like coaches brought these guys here for a reason. No disrespect to you, but these are some guys. They're gonna play. You know what I mean? So you can either help them out and help them along the way, or get about the locker room, because we all got to pull the rope in the same direction.
Well, that's why it's ultimate team game. I mean, every team sport you can learn those lessons from. But I just always said, because it's like a team of 90 guys or 100 guys, like guys of all different walks of life, opinions, feelings, friggin' habits, you name it, like, and being able to come together, like, say take like hockey, take basketball, you're not gonna have a successful team, but you can have a good game or two if you have a guy that can go end to end and just score.
Yeah.
Football, like, you literally need 12 guys doing the right thing just to move the ball like 5 yards.
Yeah.
Never mind score, right? So I think that's kind of what I always loved about football the most, is like the team aspect. And like, if you really think how much goes into just completing like a 5-yard pass, the fact that every O-lineman had to win their one-on-one matchup, the snap had to be in the right spot, the receivers had to run the right route and beat the DBs and maybe read the coverage, like you said. Like, never mind these crazy plays where you blow the top off a defense, like just to get like a little 5-yard gain.
Yeah.
So much goes into it, and we all got to be on the same page, right?
Exactly.
And that's what I always loved about it. But
saying that, like, that takes so much repetition and just.
And that's nothing against hockey or
yeah,
basketball. Don't get me wrong, but just
there. But like, you got a guy like LeBron James. What was that Cavs team that he carried to the situation like that? But
just can't happen.
Yeah,
it just can't happen. Like
if you take Barry Sanders with the Lions, he was a guy. And
Yeah.
put him on any other team that has like a relatively good team.
Yeah.
he probably wins like 3 or 4 rings. In my
Yeah, look at Saquon last year.
Exactly.
Nasty. Eagles O-line, one of the best though.
Exactly.
Right, like
Right. Make
Saquon
his job
thankfully
easy.
left from freaking New York where they were not so good. Gets behind a decent O-line. Look what happens. Like now you get the good guys playing with good guys,
Yeah, exactly.
and pretty much almost rewriting history, right? But anyway,
Yeah, but no, because I feel like there was times where we're running a concept and like, boom, the ball's thrown and like I'm out of my, like I see the coverage, I'm out of my route and I know where the ball's going, right? Like I feel like just repetitions on reps, that's what you get, but also like trusting in your teammates to know that they're gonna make the right decisions and,
Right.
and be in the right places. I couldn't imagine being a quarterback because that would probably be
hardest
hectic.
job in the world,
Yeah,
eh?
hardest job in the world, but you know, I'll stay on my little boundary side and,
Yeah.
and make sure I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing right.
Let me do my 112.
Exactly. Right.
Absolutely. So, was there like a moment or like something that happened in college where you're like, yeah, I know I want to be a coach, or I know I'm going to be a coach, or even if it was after college, like when did you know, or like when did you decide, or whatever?
So originally I was gonna take like 5 years away from football, to be honest with you.
Specifically 5,
Specifically,
yeah,
like
plan.
5. I was like, I'm gonna take 5. I'm gonna try and get into my career and then let me go back.
Which was going to be what?
Sorry.
Which was going to be what?
Oh, figuring that out.
Okay, okay,
That was the
okay,
that was
sure,
the
yeah.
that was the 5 years. Maybe like everybody travels after school. You
Right.
know, as a football player, you don't really get to do all of that.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, yeah, man, let me take 5 years off and just see what's going on. And that was gonna be like 2021 after the combine. No, I didn't get
Yeah.
drafted, right? So I was like, you know what? Let me see if I can go do my master's, and then didn't end up working out, but texted Bert. I was like, yo, can I come back? And he was like, yeah, sure. We're just gonna have you play defense. So I was gonna play DB, get some special teams film, maybe try again the next year.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
I think it was Sukar. Sukar ended up getting hurt last day of training camp. Get called into the office. He's like, Cook, we're gonna need you to play W. So I'm a team guy. So I was a team first always. I'm like, yeah, man, like I got you. Just let me know where I can do and that's.
Can I get a playbook? Can I?
Yeah, nah. Playbook was calm. I was.
Unless it didn't already change.
I was
Yeah.
good there. There was like we changed OC, so like there was some adjustments that were a little different.
Yeah.
Took some getting used to, but
yeah, ball's ball,
ball
definitely.
is ball. Yeah. So, so I went and played. Went over to W. A little bit out of shape going into camp. You know, it was just working a little bit more, not expecting to go back, and then just kind of getting that itch, like I
Yeah.
said. So that first week, Bert had me motioning back and forth on some bullet, like.
Just trying to get in shape, honestly. Yeah.
No need, but I was
Yeah.
like we're going.
Move your fat out of shape
across,
ass.
like W cross all the way back. I'm like, man, I didn't need to do that, and then I got to go route on.
No,
top
you did
of
need
that.
to.
I did need to. But I didn't spend the summer at IPC, but I had a go route after. But during that transition was like once Sukar came back, it was more so like I'm here to help you guys out. Like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna. If you have any questions, young guys, let me know. I'll answer it to the best of my ability to make sure that you're good in your position. So like in meetings where like we're going through film and it's like, oh, you should be here. As
Right.
opposed to
You
this.
probably already felt like
You
a
know?
coach, like
Hey,
a player coach.
I was a player coach essentially. So
Yeah.
like I want to say after that, before Sukar came back week 3 or 4, and then after that I was really just like a plug and play type guy.
Yeah.
Really holding for Cole. He's I'm really just there to help. I'm in a uniform, but I'm coaching.
Right.
So I want to say the Carleton game that year, I took some like nasty hits to the head, and there was a muff field goal snap where I took it around and I like probably 230-pound linebacker. I just threw my head right into his chest. I was like, I gotta score this. I'm not, So boom, that happened. And then I think it was the Windsor game. I was watching it and I was like, man, I don't know if I can be away from football for that long.
Yeah.
I was like, I'll be around. And then that winter, Coach Max stepped away because he was getting into teaching.
Right.
And there was this black coaches apprenticeship at Waterloo that I did. And I was working with Andrew Grant, the strength and conditioning coach there.
Yep.
And kind of took a coaching perspective from that, and then I was working indies, like just with receivers in the field house, like just doing indies, and then I just kind of stuck from there. So it was just kind of that. It was more so not wanting to be away from football and the right opportunity at the right time, I guess.
Kind of that same feeling you had in high school.
Yeah.
Again, that's why I'm just sitting here thinking, like, it was taken away from you with the transfer, the DM thing. Oh, man, I need this in my life. And then all of a sudden it's going to be out of your life again, and you're, like, at peace with it until one day you're like, actually, I'm not at peace with it. I'm really not.
Yeah, like, I was telling one of our players, like, use it, like, you gotta go 100% all the time, because, like, I think I tested well at the combine, but I didn't play really good football. And I remember
I didn't play one-on-ones you like that back.
I didn't play good football at all, and like looking back, it's like, me and Sella live in the same city. Why wasn't I texting him? But that's whatever it is, what it is. And should have been thrown with him, but like going back is like I should have been thinking I'm coming back regardless, as opposed to not and just working and like when. Don't worry. Don't get me wrong. I love my job, but if I could be playing football because maybe like for whatever reason the cards aligned and I was training all off season and I got look on specials, that'd be great. But I'm telling the guys, I'm like, bro,
because then you can still end up with this job after.
You know what I'm saying? I'm like,
not that you don't love it, but
put in the time now, so that way you don't know, but you have that opportunity to be in a position to go to the next level. Right?
Or at least you'll have no regrets.
No regrets, exactly. So
it happened for me. I was prepared. It didn't happen for me.
I wasn't
that
prepared.
Sucks, but at least I know there's nothing else I could have done.
Exactly. It happened for me. I wasn't prepared, and I lost it. It's like
what a feeling.
What the?
Right?
And like I say that, I'm like, listen, I love my job, but if football could have been my job, like why not take it? So
right. And that's what I mean, because football ends at some point, then you can still have this job.
Exactly.
That you love.
Like, so
a couple years later type thing.
Exactly. So Trey and Tyrell, they always come back to like CIF after, and they're training in there like 3-4 hours a day. They're running, they're throwing, they're getting their lifts in, and I'm sitting there, I'm on my computer, I'm sitting there typing up, submitting hours, doing work, whatever, and I'm like, I can't. I was like, I can't think about that. I'm like, I can't. You never want to think about the what ifs, but like it would be pretty dope to just like have football as your career, and
of course.
And just being away from that is like, okay, how can I put myself in a position to make it my career again, potentially, hopefully.
Right.
And it's like, okay, I'm in the OUA now. There's no point, like, not necessarily no point, but like this is the best of the best football in Ontario right now outside of the CFL.
Right.
Like, let me stay in here, learn as much as I can learn from Chris Bertoya and Conway and like East West and all the other coaches, like Scott Borden. He was great over. He's the OC at Mount House. He was great over the week. Taught me a lot. Corey Grant also taught me a lot. And like, if I was like, nah, I'm gonna take this 5 years away, I don't have those opportunities to learn. And I'm big on learning, and like I want to absorb as much knowledge as possible, because like I always say, like, I only know what I've learned from Waterloo, but you meet coaches and they drop little gems on you.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I get what you're saying. So
like we said before, ball is ball.
Ball is ball.
But some guys will look at ball a little different, or make you look at it just a little bit different.
Just a little bit different. Yeah. And like I'll say this, for example. So we had just finished 2-a-days, and I was getting ready to do another drill, and Corey's like, man, these young coaches out. He's a funny guy, so he's like these young coaches always making y'all work so hard and going crazy and doing this, because obviously it's like it's an all-star game, but they're going there to learn and like get better. So
and get evaluated.
So I'm going in with that mentality. I was like, what can I do to make sure that they're good? And then he's just like, just relax a little bit. Let's play some catch. Just
like, is there CFL scouts at every practice?
I think there was for a few. Yeah.
That's what I mean. If I was a coach, I'd be thinking like, they're evaluating Indy. They're going to evaluate fucking everything. So, like, let's make sure these guys get their money's worth and their time's worth.
Exactly.
And let the guys even see you in the bag drill just trying really hard, and let them see you interacting with the guys and being a good teammate, Exactly. I would think the same thing. But I guess I'm young like you, too.
Yeah, but too much of that is not always good, because, like, what if they're bruised up a little bit, and then you put some bad tape out there?
Yeah.
Right? You don't want bad tape. So it's just like, let's play a game, and then I'm looking at it. I'm like, okay, we're working just one-handed catches, but we're just stationary. We're letting their legs rest.
Yeah.
Indy was before warm up, so like we're just letting their legs rest, and like we're still focusing on it. And then like
we're still getting better.
Halfway through, he's like, okay, what we're gonna do now is like catch you with one hand, but I want you to focus on the football. Just like I'm here, eyes to the ball, and then give me a little shimmy at the top, and then you make it fun and just put yourself in positions that you wouldn't think you would be in a game, but then you end up being in a game, and you've done it before, right? So it's like little small things, and
it's a high stress week.
That.
The guys are so stressed.
Exactly.
Like
relax a little bit, have some fun, and
still be productive.
Still be productive. Exactly.
Yeah. So that's amazing.
Yeah.
So how do you think, in saying all that, obviously it's always evolving. It's always evolving for me too. Like, what do you want your coaching philosophy to be? And then kind of the other side of the coin, like, what do you think your current athletes would say your coaching philosophy is? Because obviously you hope it lines up, but you never know.
Yeah. So coaching philosophy, how would I explain that? Just being young, I think I catch myself harping on the negatives a lot. Like I think a big thing for me is like I want to develop the guys to be really good football players.
Yeah.
Right. You gotta take the good with the bad, I guess, with that. Like obviously some guys are gonna come in super raw, right? But they may be raw in terms of the playbook, like I was, and like in terms of coverages. But they're really good in terms of route running for the most part, or they struggle with their route running, or their hands are a little shaky, right? So I think my coaching philosophy would be what I want it to be is be able to adapt and adjust based off of the player. Like I don't want to be cookie cutter and just like you need to do it this way.
Right.
Which,
no pun intended.
Yeah.
Cookie cutter.
Yeah. You need to do it this way because this way is my way. Because like that, I feel like that's like having that mentality is not the best for young guys that you're trying to develop. Right?
And even worse, I've seen good guys do it this way and it worked for them. So you got to do it like that.
Like I want
well intentioned, but
exactly. Yeah, I want to be able to be able to explain why we're doing something, as opposed to we're doing this just because we're doing this. Right. And first year, 100%. That's kind of the way I was.
Yeah.
And then I sat down, I watched a lot of film on our guys, and just like saw where their strengths and weaknesses were, and then I transitioned that to the indie drills that we were doing, and some of it worked and some of it didn't. So then come the off season, I like regrouped and was like, okay, let's kind of not start fresh, but like give everybody kind of a new standing ground because we're bringing in young guys as well to indies and whatnot. So just teach from top down. Some guys may know it, some guys may not, but the guys that know are going to get really good at it. The guys that may not know it are going to get a lot better. And after from, I want to say like December when we did or January or whatever to spring camp, like the growth that I saw was so significant, and like it was a true testament to like their hard work.
Yeah.
Right. Like, because I would give them the drills, I would try and send out videos as much as I can, and then it's like, okay, you guys work on this. Like it's like I get you once for an hour every week, just because I like rules and all that stuff. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
But like it's like go work on it on your own time. Right. So
and you can tell if they did it or not.
You can tell if they did it. Like even a week later. You know what I'm saying? So like I wanna put you guys like my coaching philosophy is like I want to put you in a position to be successful, and like obviously like you can give me an online workout and I not do it. And like, it's like, oh, he sucks at coaching. You know?
Right.
Like it's not just on the coach, it's also on the athlete themselves, and I want to make sure that like I want the athletes to be the players to be like, what's the word I'm looking for?
Kind of like I was saying before, like empowered almost.
Yeah,
or like,
empowered. Like if you do this, like send me a video of you doing it. We can coach it up that way.
Yeah.
Like we're in a generation where everybody's glued to their phone. So
yeah,
like,
might as well use it. Might as well be productive with it.
If you text me and I don't answer you, I might be busy, but like I should answer you.
24-hour rule.
Exactly.
Fair enough.
Right. So that's kind of how I want to go about coaching. I want to develop the guys, put them in a position to be successful at the next level and just be successful as men. Feel like there's like I don't want to just see you as a football player.
Yeah,
right?
so much more than that.
Let me know how your classes are going.
Right.
Forget one of our players. I won't name drop him, but if he hears this, he'll know who he is. He just completed his first solo flight. he's in aviation. He just completed his first solo flight.
Yeah, amazing.
Like, that is super dope. I wouldn't get in the plane with him right now.
Maybe on his 10th one.
I
Maybe
love him
his
death.
100th one.
I'm not getting in the plane with him right now just 'cause I don't really like flying like
Yeah.
that. But like, I want to know those things about you, and like I want to make like I want so similar to Coach Mack. Like I think he knew me pretty good personally, and I want to be able to like know you as a man and see you grow within the program, and then like see what successful things, because you know Waterloo kids, they're always going to be successful.
Yeah.
Innovation lives here.
Yeah.
They
got you trained, huh?
Yeah, exactly. I want to see what you're doing after. Right?
Yeah.
Like I want to see you grow, and like
Totally.
I'm
Football
still,
ends for everybody.
Yeah, exactly.
Whether you play 15 years in the league or 0.
Exactly.
Right?
I'm still super young in my coaching career, so I haven't had the opportunity to see that.
Right.
But you know, I'm seeing it with some of the former guys I've played with and everything like that. So I just want, coaching philosophy, develop them to be great football players as well as great men.
Yeah, take all the shit you learned, all the values, all the habits, and apply it to whatever your chosen arena is, right? And it's even cool now for you being the head receiver coach over there to be able to maybe lead other coaches as well. Like you have an assistant, right, Coach Taylor? Like so being able to lead her
great.
as well.
She's great.
Exactly, and so now you're gonna get to lead both.
Yeah, she definitely keeps me on my toes. She asks like a lot of questions, and it's helped me. You don't think about it at the time, but it's helped me so much as a coach, like to understand football a little bit better. Explaining it to somebody else is so eye opening, because you're like, oh wow, there's some gaps in my knowledge here. Let me learn that. It's like, okay, I'll get back to you on that one. It's coming, but I'll get back to you. And like she's making sure, like I would say, it's a little good cop, bad cop. Like I said earlier, I kind of harp on the negatives because I want you to be better at that. Like if I see something that's bad, I'm like, okay, we got to work.
Let's
on
avoid
this,
these negative things so we don't repeat them.
She makes sure that I'm praising the good things too. Right? So,
shout out Coach Taylor.
Yeah, she's great. She's come a long way as well. From like I always say if like anybody questions anything, I'm always like, she has more coaching experience than me.
She's been in the pros multiple times, right?
As
far as I know,
Like if I have questions for her, I'll ask. She comes with drills ready all the time.
Yeah.
Coach, what we want for Indy today? I got this drawn up. I got that, and so even before I have the stuff drawn up and know what I want to do, she's on it like that. So I can just be like, yeah, no. And it was, I think, like just because I don't praise the good things, it kind of transitioned to her as well. She wanted to make sure that like I'm sitting there, I'm like, Taylor, I trust you. Do you think? You know what I mean? Like,
totally.
It's 100% like that. Like I trust her to go and run an Indy if I'm not there, or even run an Indy if I'm there. I was just like, go ahead, do your thing. If I have any critiques, I'll talk to her about it after. So, but usually she's pretty solid, so she keeps me on my toes and make sure I'm, like I said, praising the good things and making sure the guys are.
Because you're like me, you're like, I see the good things, but you just sometimes just assume like, well, they knew what the good things were. Like those aren't gonna make them better, but that's so not true.
Because like me as a player, like there was no one that was gonna be harder on me than me, right? But
that's what I've always said
it's always good to like I would say like when I'm working out here and I'm doing something wrong, you're gonna tell me, and then like the result is gonna speak for itself. Like I got a story with tricks where I was cleaning. And I think it was like I was trying to clean 110 kilos or something crazy like that. And I got it up to my chest, and I just was too scared to get under it. Yeah. And he's like,
can you imagine the language that was
used? You know
used?
what I'm saying? On my ass, like on me right away. Yeah. And I'm like probably 2-minute break later, I get it. Because he was like, you either hit that or you get
fuck out of here.
You know what I'm saying? And he's like, they're so.
Either about this action or you're not.
You know what I'm saying? Exactly. So like, I was never one that needed like positive affirmation and things.
Come on,
like
buddy,
it was,
you can do it.
You know what I'm saying? It was like, and I need to understand that like not everybody's like that.
Yes.
Like, I'm like, there's some guys that like, want to know, hey coach, did you see that? Like, was it good? Like, I'm like,
and those guys are not wrong for feeling that way.
They're not. No,
and it took me a while to get there too.
Exactly.
I'm still trying to get there.
It definitely takes some getting used to, because I went from like really just worrying about like making sure I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing right. To I got a group of 25 guys that I gotta watch over and oversee, develop, and make sure that they're good from their personal life. Because
if you're not, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, if you're not, it doesn't matter. Like you're bringing that into football, and then it translates to your play. And then if your play is bad, I don't know that you're going through some stuff. I'm on you, and then it just makes it worse for you, right?
Totally.
So
It just spreads.
It just spreads. Like,
Positivity and negativity, they both spread, right? So it's like,
exactly.
which one's it going to be?
So, like, if you're sitting over there in the corner quiet, I'm trying to come up to you. You can hit me with the, yeah, I'm all right, coach. But, I'm just know I'm probably not going to be on you as much that day.
Right.
Just because you sitting over there, like, look like you're really going through. You may not want to talk about it, but,
right.
So,
like I kind of said before, I don't think people really appreciate it, these young guys, until they get into actually being in that room, being in that system, being at that level. Like, just briefly, can you walk through like a typical day in the season for you? Let's say as a coach and as a player, because that's a cool thing. You have kind of both perspective. Like, I don't really know if people understand how much goes into it, right? I remember like kind of having classmates sometimes being like, just a quick story, just because I thought it was funny. One class I was in one time, like some of my classmates are like, man, like I got no time to do anything. And I'm like, I know, like, what team are you on? Oh, no, I'm not a team. Oh, okay, like, where do you work? Because I had a job, I had the football thing going. I'm like, I had whatever. No, I don't work. I'm like, how many classes are you in? Like 4, so like not even the full 5.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you don't have time? I'm like, you don't have a clue what time it is, right?
What time you wake up at?
I'm like 30 hours a week of football when I'm not even dressing.
Yeah.
Plus a part-time job, and I'm not complaining. Trust me. I'm just realizing at that point, like the perspective is just so fucked. Like sorry, but so I'm like, I just kind of want, if you can highlight, because everyone's heard me say it 100 times. Like, it's kind of cool that you have both sides. Like, what does it look like kind of from a player? And then maybe just quick, how does it differ as a coach doing the planning and the scouts and stuff?
So my situation is kind of interesting. So like some people may think it's interesting. Some people may hear this and think I'm kind of crazy. But so I'll go through player during the season and player in the off season, and then I'll do the same for the coaching. So player during the season, usually you got lifts around 8 to 10 during the season. You're not going too crazy.
6 a.m. for us.
6 a.m. Yeah. Yeah, it depends when you wake up. So we have lifting blocks. So varsity hours, I'll say this: 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. 10 a.m. Sorry. So we go during those times, just because some guys have class. You go before class, right after class.
You guys got an athlete weight room though, right? Or like a football weight room?
We no. So CIF, where I'm managed now, is like that's where the varsity athletes lift.
Yeah.
We have a separate gym as well, that they've worked out a little thing with the school.
Right.
But we have two facilities. So we have CIF and then PAC. PAC is where like the indoor sports are played.
Right.
So they'll lift over. Some of them will lift over there. Some of them like when you have free time, because there's like 3 different levels. But it's more like a good life over there.
Right.
And then
so that's all we had. That's why we had to go at 6. Like we always kind of talk like it's a flex. Like you sleep, we grind, but. We all hated it, and the only reason we were in there at that time is because we had no other choice, because we're lifting with the rest of the population, right? But
so
anyway,
that was my thing. I never really liked working out at PAC. I'd always like sit because it was like people aren't looking at you weird when you're doing some
jumping or cleaning or sprinting or what the hell are you doing? Yeah.
So for me during the season, it was like I wake up probably 7:30, get breakfast. Then I'm going to class. I'm getting a lift in there somewhere, and then going back to class. Usually the program that I was in was lighter on classes, so like I'd have a decent amount of free time, but I'm getting some schoolwork in, whether it be throwing the ball with twins, whatever, just because we always end up in the same classes.
Right. Extra film.
Yeah, and then we're going, and then we got practice, right? You got practice, or if let's say it's a Tuesday, you got install meetings, so you got to be at the facility at like 4 o'clock. Right, for example, you got an hour of install with you got team meeting specials, often O&D meetings, and then you're off to the change room, get changed, get ready for practice. Then you go through practice. Then you're eating, and then you got film after practice. So
you guys like film after, eh?
Sometimes,
that's crazy.
Yeah. So there at 4, you leave around 10:30.
Yeah.
Right? So
we were like similar. Okay, yeah, but we did like 3 to 5 was like the film and everything, and then practice like 5:30 to 8.
Yeah, we would eat, and then
film after is crazy.
Depending, I think we switched it in my like 3rd year or whatever. We would push it later, so we'd finish at like 10, and then we would just go home. Like we'd finish practice at like 10, go home, we'd get food, and then go home.
Right.
So that was kind of the typical day for like in season.
Yeah.
Like in class, not doing too much during the day, but then out of season. right? Fortunately enough, we have the field house, so we don't have to go to like Rim Park or anything like that. I did that my first year.
That's what we had to do every year. Yeah.
Feel sorry for y'all, but don't want to do that again. I'm getting up at like 5:30. I'm eating breakfast, going to practice. So we got practice, and then right after I'm getting a little snack, and then I'm gonna lift. And usually between practice and the lift, so if this was like a typical like Thursday, those were like my busy days. Practice and lift. Then I'm going straight into class. Got a little break in there, probably grab lunch. Class again. Once I'm done, usually meet up with a bunch of the guys. We're playing basketball or something, like in between staying active, and then we're going to throw the ball in the field house again.
Yeah. You're probably like 6 a.m. to 10 p.m.
Yeah, pretty much.
Occupied.
Go back to class, and then that's usually that 3-hour lecture 6 to 9, and then I'm off to home. Probably
get a little homework, a little meal prep, something like.
Yeah, play some video games, depending on like if I'm like okay, the schoolwork can wait till tomorrow. If it was a Tuesday or Thursday, usually Wednesday was like my off day, so I really just have to worry about football.
Right.
So I go into that. Now as a coach, also I worked all the way through.
Yeah.
So like if like when I'm working, so my last year, what I would do is, this is where people are gonna find it interesting. I would open at Pack, so 5:30, 10:30, I'm working there. 5:30, 10:30 a.m. I'm working there. Go home, walk my dog real quick, probably around like 11 to 11:30.
Yeah.
Then I go work at Beer Town.
Yeah.
Right. I'm there 12:30 to 4:30. If it was a Tuesday, I would just go straight into meetings. If it was a regular day, I would lift, and then I'm going straight to practice. And then those days, because we didn't have meetings before, we had meetings after, and like that was like my Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday regular split. Fridays I would push my work a little bit later just because we have walkthrough in the morning, and then game day on Saturday. That was like all of my third year and last year. That was kind of my schedule. As a coach, it's a little bit different because I would be at work from 8:30 to right until practice started.
Right.
So I'm doing work, and I'll spend maybe like that last 15, 20 minutes getting everything together for like Indy and practice, and just making sure I'm on the same page with the OC. I walk by his office every day, so I get a little talk in there too. And then I'm going to practice, we have practice, and then running film after. So that's kind of like that was my schedule as a coach. 8:30 to like 10 in terms of like training camp, for example. That's my daily thing.
So in the role you're in right now, are you doing like the game preps, the percentages, are you doing all that, or is that more the OC?
That's more the OC.
Okay.
Like my role is like I work with receivers. I help a little bit with the offense. Conway kind of has his system that he goes. I would be up in the booth, so I'm calling out the coverages for him and getting that type of thing. But in terms of the actual offense, that's Conway's show. I'm there to help. He's great. He does a lot of work, and he works really hard on that. And like coming from being a linebacker and a special teams guy to being the OC, the amount of work that he puts in is actually insane. Like and on top of that, he's like making sure the kids camps are running, and like he's getting banquets and stuff together. So like that's a whole different demon that he's on. But no, I try and help him where I can, and try and throw in like my opinion somewhere wherever it's needed, and that's kind of my role. And then I'm up top in the booth on game days, just because I personally I wasn't a fan of it at the start, but just because it's like it felt a lot faster. So like the drive would finish, and then I'm on the iPad trying to rewatch the plays. And
I hate the iPad. I get it; it's so valuable. But when they brought the iPad in my 4th or 5th year, I'm like, get that thing away from me.
Yeah, so I'm up there watching. It obviously got better as like the season went on.
Yeah.
But I remember, I think it was the first time I was up there. Love Day. I was up there with Love Day, and I'm sitting there watching, and the play hasn't even happened yet, and he's calling the coverages, and I'm just like, how do you know that?
Yeah.
Like, you just like he obviously coached for a very long time, and then he kind of stepped away just from family, but he came in and it was just like right away. I'm like, man,
Yeah.
I got a lot I gotta learn still.
So nice to be around those guys.
Exactly.
I honestly love feeling stupid.
Yeah.
I love feeling like I'm in a room with people where I'm the stupidest person. I love it.
You know, it's kind of crazy because like you're like, oh, you think you know so much, and then you're around some people that know a lot who may also feel like they don't know too much. But
It's ironic.
You're looking at them like
that's that Dunning. You ever see that Dunning-Kruger effect? It's like you learn a little. I'll show you after the chart, but it's like you learn a little bit and you think you're so smart.
Yeah.
And the more you learn, you realize you're like down here like fucking don't know anything. And then hopefully by the end of your career, you start trending back in the right direction. But
exactly.
like when you just got out of school, like me, whether it's me or you or anybody who's like fresh in the field, you feel like you're on top of the world. You know everything.
Yeah.
You got your degree, you took a little certification or two, and you're like, fuck, I know everything.
Yeah. And then
the more you learn, you're like, oh my god, I don't know anything.
Exactly. And I realized that through one football and also like my actual job. So. I've had some really great mentors in terms of like my profession, and it's weird how like we'll be walking through the building that I'm in every day, and he'll like one of my bosses will like point out something, and then it's like I didn't even know that was different or like that's changed. You see it every day. You may not you may get used to how things look, but when it's at a place, it's like a thumb and nail. But when it's in place and like something's wrong with it, it's like what's going on there?
Yeah,
and
totally.
You don't miss it after that, and it's like okay, I still have a lot to learn from that. So, I think it's definitely fortunate to have like the people that I have teach me the things that I've learned so far.
So something that I really want to transition to now is, I guess from yourself or from like the whole Waterloo staff. So when you're recruiting guys now, like what are you looking for? What does the process look like? What do you think you see with a lot of kids maybe that's missing? Like, oh man, some of these kids would be good if they would just, I have my own kind of thoughts, but I'm curious what you want to get into. Like, and also what's the best way to get recruited now? Because I feel like it's always changing. I feel like when we played, I feel like it was kind of like highlight tape is like your resume.
Yeah.
Then you're gonna go to that school's camp or something. That's a job interview, or they come to your game. That's a job interview. Like, I don't know if it's still like that or kind of. So those are kind of things I want to dive into. Like, what do you look for, and what's the best way to get found?
I kind of have a little thing that I use that it ranks like various tools that a receiver may have, whether it be their speed, their size, like blocking, like things like that.
Blocking, which probably is that's what I was thinking is probably so underrated.
Yeah, 100%. Because blocking at the end of the day, it's just a mentality. You can be small and like if you're like I said before, you're not scared to go lay the wood a little bit. You'll go far because like. They say special teams 1/3 of the game. You're probably blocking on specials. You gotta show effort.
Especially in Canada, you want to play pro,
Canada, exactly. So
you can be a teamer for like a decade.
Exactly.
Right.
So just make sure like those type of things. That is what I'm looking for. Like, and then if I'm in person, it's like okay, let me see how you react after like a drop pass.
Yeah.
Like Jared, for example, in East Westport, he dropped a pass over the middle, and then 3 plays later had a big first down catch that was like 20-something yards. And then talked to him after the game. I was like, hey, we need those. He's like, Coach, I got the next one. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
That's in the past. I'm like, okay, that's a good response. That's the only response that you want to hear, to be honest. Right?
Yeah.
It's like,
and I like when I asked him about it, he goes, I should have caught it.
Yeah, exactly.
I said,
he knows.
And I'm the guy that's like, oh, it's not a QB you're used to. He goes, doesn't matter, I should have caught it. No excuse. I'm like,
if you get as a receiver, you get 2 hands on it, you should catch it. If you get 1 hand on it, you should catch it. And then sometimes you just gotta make the quarterback look good.
Yeah, totally.
That's all it is, right?
Totally.
He could be like an inch off the ground, make that catch.
Yeah,
make him look good, make his job easier. But yeah, no, just to see your mentality behind the game. Like, are you aggressive? Are you more nonchalant? Like, are you just kind of sitting there chilling? But when it's time to go, you can go. So it's like kind of keep that mentality the whole time, right?
Right.
Like, you're really good. Just play like that the whole time, so then that way you're putting good film out there. In terms of how to get recruited, I have a lot of guys send me their tape.
Is that the best way still?
I think so. Like some kids are persistent with it, and then like I'm gonna look at it. I'll send you a response, and like
at least to make a first intro, I guess. Right?
Exactly. Like I'll send you a response like, hey, thanks for reaching out. I'll take a look. I'll send it to our coaches, and then. Like here's a little fill out our recruiting form, so then that way we know you're interested. We know your grades. We get to know you a little bit better on paper, right?
Of course.
And then if we like what we see, we're gonna pop out to games and that type of thing, depending if you're in the area or
If you're in BC, maybe
yeah,
not.
I don't know. There's probably a lot of money in that, but I don't know how that whole process works
Yeah,
yet.
totally.
I try and I think I'll be more in the Niagara area this year just 'cause I'm from here.
Right.
So I have a lot of connections out here. But in terms of that, I think the best way to get recruited, send out your tape, go to schools camps like those high school camps, right, and then just reach out to the coaches. I would say like put it on a platform that some coaches are a little bit older. They may not know how to use everything. Like I think Twitter's a good one.
Yeah.
You got Huddle, YouTube, like all those things. Like use those to promote yourself. You got Instagram. DM the coaches, follow them on Instagram, and just
DM them and maybe have a little bit of decent, respectful language, right? Not like, yo, coach, what's good?
Exactly. Have a certain professionalism to you, as well as like if you're gonna send out a mass email, put the school that you're sending. I can't stress this enough.
Right.
If you are sending it to coach at University of Waterloo or University of
Toronto,
University of
yeah.
Toronto, one, do your research a little bit, get the coach's name, spell it right, put the school in there, and then have a little blurb and maybe say what program you're interested in before they send you the recruiting thing, right? So I would say that's a big thing. Just make sure you're sending it to the right coach and sending it to the school of the coach as opposed to.
You guys probably see it all the time, eh?
I
mean,
I'll get into that, but.
There's like 11 schools in Ontario that play football, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
If you can't take, that probably would take you about half hour, not even, to write, it's actually just one email, and just address it like 11 separate emails, and just change the subject line and the recipient and the fucking intro, like, if you can't just change that, hey, Coach Dagelman, hey, Coach Falls, hey, Coach Marshall at Western, whatever, if you can't take the time to do that, you don't want it bad enough, and you can't convince me otherwise.
No.
Or you can even send, I think there's 27 or 28 schools nationally. That wouldn't even take you an hour.
Exactly.
If you don't have actually the drive to do that, you're sure as hell not going to do all these 14-hour days we've been talking about and studying film and doing all, not only the required work, but all the extra work, right? So,
Exactly.
Okay, so it's still kind of the same process. And I only asked because, like, I feel like when we played, it was very simple. It was high school. You should probably play Spears at some point.
Yeah.
There was, like, Timo. There was, like, maybe, like, 1 or 2 All-Star games, and that was kind of it. And then the schools had their own camps.
Yeah.
And now some of these guys are asking me sometimes, oh, should I go to this, that, and the other, like, All-Star game? And I'm thinking, like, am I that, like, dated? I haven't heard of, like, there's, like, a million combines and things you can go to. And I'm like, okay, like, let's be honest, like, what's really worth it?
Yeah,
you
so
know? Where are you guys going and even looking?
Yeah, so from what I've seen, just from, like, football as well as, like, professional. So we host, like, Red Black Weekend.
Yeah, for Team Ontario,
like,
right? Yeah.
We hosted the... It's the OSFL.
Yeah.
It was the OSFL championships last year.
Yeah. And that OSFL All-Star game last week, right?
OSFL All-Star game. So, honestly, first things first. If you can play, coaches are going to hear about you. They're going to find you.
Yeah.
Right. That's a big thing. Like you said, send out your highlight tape to the 27 schools, or send it out to wherever you want to go.
Yeah. I got a question about that too. Okay. Yeah. Go ahead.
But like me personally, I didn't even have a highlight tape. Like it was all.
Yeah. Fair.
It was all face value. Like coaches were here. When coaches, like you don't want to just show up when coaches are there.
Right.
You want to be playing at that level that like coaches are always watching.
Right.
You want to play. That should
undeniable.
That should be your play. That should be your regular play. So that's a big thing. Just if you can play, coaches are gonna find you, and then if you're kind of one of those middle of the pack guys, that's when you got blue collar, I think they call them. Send out your tape, make sure you're getting there. And then if
squeaky wheel gets grease, right?
Exactly. And if you're a guy that might take 2-3 years to get on the field, like that's okay too. And coaches, like if you're willing to put the work in and you're raw and you're accepting the coaching and all that stuff, is like I think that's big as well. And I mean I love that as a coach. Like if I'm talking to a kid and we're talking defense, he's like yeah, I got you. Cool. And I'm not even done speaking. Like man, all right, cool.
Yeah.
All right, I'll do that to you as well.
Those are the guys that end up on the field making mistakes.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're like, if you would have let me finish, I was getting there.
I think,
man.
So you gotta listen to understand as opposed to listen to respond.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. 2 ears, 1 mouth, baby.
So big, right? Like listen to understand. And I often catch. I'll be I'll be in conversations with like I'll go in with a question, like 2 questions.
Yeah.
And then I'll go into a conversation and like they're talking and I'm like, I need to get my question up. And I'm like, 1 second, coach, let me chill. Let me listen to understand what he's saying.
Yeah.
And then half the time they answer your
that
question.
Gets in, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And you're just
I don't have to ask it now.
You know, and like definitely, yeah, that's a big thing. Listen to understand as opposed to listening to respond.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and that applies to
everything in life.
Everything in life. 100%. I'm curious, just going back real quick with the highlight tape thing, because now like this trend I see, and I'm curious from actually someone whose opinion that matters, is like I see all these like very cinematic highlight tapes, and they're beautiful, and I get it, they're fun to watch, but it's like the guy slow motion putting the helmet on and dapping up the boys, and like maybe he's on a knee praying or doing something pregame, and it's all very cool, but I'm like, should you almost have 2 separate tapes, like so like you send one to you guys, it's just straight film. And then the other one for your own personal thing, or like, do you guys watch? You see like the guys making cuts and it's like slow mo, and I'm like, man, that's cool. But like, do you guys really want to watch that? Like, I'm so curious.
So one thing that I was told when I was John Casasanta from Guelph. He was the Niagara local guy. One thing, when I was in high school, he's my English teacher, but we talked football a lot. Even to this day, every time I see him at the games, we talk. One thing he said to me was like, most people just mute the highlight tape.
Yeah, fair enough.
And I was like, oh, that's interesting. I really know that. And then as a coach, I would say like, everybody's different in their own way. Like some guys just have raw tape out there. Like that's when I made my CFI highlight tape. That's all it was. I was just straight tape, DVS Sport, straight tape.
Yeah.
But
I just see all these like special effects now, and I'm just curious.
I feel like it kind of shows their personality a little bit. Like some guys may be like super rah, and you see that in the tape,
and you might like it.
It's like, okay, he might be a leader of the team.
Okay.
He might be.
I reserve the right to be wrong. See, I'm liking this. Yeah, okay. Because I was dead set. I was like, this is stupid. All right.
Like I don't know other coaches' opinions, and like.
No, it's a good point though. I like that.
He may be like super rah, but then you got like some guy that's like a silent killer, and he's just kind of going. He just has his tape out there.
Yeah.
But I think it shows their
not really right or wrong.
Yeah, I think it shows their personality a little bit. Like you see, and it's kind of dope in the sense that like if somebody cuts it up for you, like you want to shout out them as well. Like if you're,
you guys are doing amazing work. I don't want to take away from these guys editing and stuff.
It's crazy. Yeah.
I was just curious, like from a recruiting perspective, like is it a little bit fluffy or do you like it or What makes sense?
I would say give me 30 seconds of it, and that's like the most.
Okay, fair.
30 seconds, and then like 15, 20 maybe. But after that, like let me see why you sent me your tape.
It's like the meeting that could have been an email, right?
So so because like obviously we're watching on tape if guys are far, like, and you see that he's rah type. It's like, okay, that's the type of guy we need in the locker room.
Yeah.
We need someone that's gonna hype everybody up. Or like we need someone that's gonna bring energy. And like he may be that guy, and then it's like, let me go see him in person.
Yeah.
And he's that guy. It's like, okay, cool. He needs some work, but he'd be good for the room.
Good for the culture, which is so overlooked.
Exactly. So
okay, that's awesome. That's
15, 30.
Yeah.
15, 30 seconds.
That's totally valid though, honestly. That's totally valid.
I don't want to watch 2 minutes of that. Just me personally.
Yeah. But see, because I guess maybe I'm old school. I'm like 0%. I'm like, get the shit out of here. Let's fucking cut the tape on and someone hit somebody.
Exactly.
But I think my perspective has genuinely changed in the last 5 minutes. That's good. So one last question here before we kind of wrap it up is, if you could go back and coach your younger self at Waterloo, let's say, so you're at that age, like you're in this position you're in right now, but you're coaching Rushon Dagelman first year. Like, how would you coach him? What would you say?
Oh man. I would say, like, honestly, put your head down and work.
Yeah.
That's one big thing. Put your head down and work. I kind of know the things that I went through and, like, just as a young kid, which sometimes affected me on the field more than I wanted.
Right.
And, like, put your head down and work when you're on the football field. You're on the football field. You're outside the football field.
Be where your feet are.
Yeah, that was a big message at East West. It was be where your feet are.
Yeah.
So, I hadn't heard that all too much. But yeah, that's like, if I could say that to my younger self, that's what it would be. Be where your feet are. You don't know what comes next. You know what's about to happen, but you don't know You don't know what's 5 plays from now.
Right.
No matter how much you look at the script, you don't know what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Right. So be where your feet are. Absorb everything like a sponge. Take what your coaches tell you. Know
Right.
you don't have to know it right away, but show that you're trying, and then so you don't fuck up so much. Don't.
You heard it here. Don't fuck up so much. That's the
don't-
take-home message.
Don't go in there and miss your blocks and have people yelling at you. So I would just say take everything in stride and go be great.
That's amazing, man. That's a lot of value wrapped up in an hour and a half here. I know we could probably talk all day, but I know your time's valuable too. So I really appreciate you coming
been
on.
an hour and a half?
I swear to God, 86 minutes. Yeah, so I really appreciate you coming on. Guys, remember, you can find us, Performance Matters Podcast, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts, we're on there. Really appreciate Rushon for coming on. Always a pleasure having you. And
Appreciate you having me.
have you on for episode 2 one time.
Yeah, one time.
Easy.